Hey guys, welcome back to Coding Stuff, and in this video we're gonna see how you can create expandable fab button without a library. So as you can see, I have shared my phone screen. So this is fab button, and if I click on it, this will expand and you can see the animations and also the dim background. And you can skip this if you like the dim background, you can add it or you can also remove it. Okay, and you can see these are some options that you get: gallery, share, and menu, send button or fab button you can say. So if I click on it again, you'll see the animations and this will be shrinked again. So this is expanded and this is shrinked. Alright, so let me just minimize this, and as you can see I have created one empty project. First thing that I'll do, I'll get rid of this text view, and in the colors I have added one color which is purple. You can add your favorite color or you can just copy this hex code as well, and also I'll provide source code in the description box. So if you want some resources or you want to, if you have some issues, you can check with that as well. So now we'll go to the build.gradle app level and I will enable the view binding. So for enabling the view binding, build features, and inside this we need to write view binding equals to true. Then I'll click on sync now. Alright, so it has been synced. Now I'll close this, and in the drawables I have added few drawables, like simple one which is add, then this is for gallery, then send and share. Alright, so let me just close this. You can add this resources from here. You can click on drawable, new vector asset, and you can search like share. You'll get this share asset. You need to click on OK, and then you need to click on next, and then you need to click on finish. It will be added over here. So I have already added it. I'll close this. Alright, so now we'll start with the activity main, as this video is focused on UI mostly, but we'll also have to implement the logics in the main activity in order to if I click over here, this fab should be shrinked, and if I press back, this fab should be shrinked, and also if I press back, this fab should be shrinked, not the app should close. So if I click back, fab will be shrinked first, and I need to press back again to exit the app. Alright, so yeah, okay, so first thing that we will do here is we'll add one constraint layout, another constraint layout, which will be match parent and wrap content, and we'll provide a horizontal in parent and one to the bottom. Alright, and we'll also provide one parameter which will be minimum height, so min height, and I'll set 32 dp. Cool. Then inside this, first thing we need to add is a floating action button. So floating action button, this one. Cool. So wrap content, and again wrap content, I'll provide it an id, so id, and id will be main fab button, okay, which will have src compact, and this should come from app, so app src compact, and this will be equals to baseline add, I guess, yeah, this one. Cool. And we don't need to constrain this over here. And we'll set the constraint parents width as a map wrap content, and then we'll add some margin to it. So margin end of, let's say, 12 dp, and margin bottom of 12 dp. Cool. Then we'll provide background tint which will be purple color. Cool. And we'll also add the tint which will be coming from app, so tint, and this will be equals to color white, so white. Cool. And this add button is now white, and we need to constrain this to our parents layout, which is constraint layout. So its bottom will be bottom to bottom of parent, and end to end of parent. Cool, so now this is looking cool to me. Okay, cool, so that's our first floating action button. Then what I'll do, I'll copy this again and I'll paste it over here. This time this will be add fab button, so not add, this will be gallery, and its bottom will be constrained to top of main fab button, and we can remove this margin and we'll constrain its end to again this main fab button. So main fab button. Alright, this looks cool to me now. And for gallery we have another icon or drawable, so this time I will use collections, I guess, for gallery. Cool. So with this we also have the text view, so down here we'll create one text view, and again wrap content and wrap content. Text will be gallery, and this will be constraints to end to start of gallery fab button, and top to top of gallery fab button, bottom to bottom of gallery fab button. Alright, so let's just provide it an ID as well. So this will be gallery TV. We need to write plus ID in front of this. Cool. Then we can set some properties to it, like text style, which we will make it to the bold. We'll provide some elevation to it, so 8 dp. And in order to make it look better, what we can do, I'll go to the drawables. I'll add one drawable resource file, which will be fab text bg, and instead of selector I'll use shape, and shape will be of rectangle. Then I'll add some properties to it, just like stroke. We'll give it purple color again. We'll provide some width to it, let's say 3 dp. We need some corners, so corners radius will be, let's make it 8 dp. We can adjust it later. Then we can add solid to it, so solid will be color white. Cool. So let's just go to the activity main and let's try to add the background to the text view. So background will be fab text bg. So if I zoom it, cool, you can see the background has been added. And what we can do here is we'll set the text color first to black, and we can provide some padding here, padding horizontal of, let's say, 32 dp, padding vertical of 8 dp or 10 dp. Cool, 8 dp looks cool to me. Yeah, and cool, this looks cool to me, but we can just increase the radius to 12 and let's see how does it look now. Cool, so now this looks cool to me. You can adjust it if you want, it's totally depends on you. So this thing has been added over here. Now what we need to do, we need to make this invisible. So I'll make this floating action button gallery visible to invisible, and I'll add the same property to this as well. Cool, so now I'll pause the video and I will add rest of the two options. So I'll just copy this two and I'll change the IDs and all that. So alright, everything is done, and as you can see, we have send, we have share, and we have gallery fab button. So as you can see, this send on and this share and this gallery text is so close to this fab button, so you don't have to worry about that. Later we'll add scaling animation to this, and this will be separated and this will look better. And even this, the size of this these all three fab buttons will look different from size of this main fab button. So alright, everything is done for this one, and now we can go to the main activity. First thing that we'll do, we'll set up our binding variables. So this will be equals to activity main binding, this will be equals to binding activity main dot inflate, and we need to pass the layout inflator here, and over here we need to pass binding dot root, binding dot root. Alright, and then we can add on click listener to our main fab. So binding dot main fab button set on click listener. Alright, and here we can have one check. Just create one boolean variable or flag, you can say, private var is expanded, will make it false initially. So if is expanded is true, then we'll shrink the fab, and else we will expand the fab. So expand fab. Alright, so over here we'll create these two functions. So private fun shrink fab and private fun expand fab. Alright, and in these two functions we can do one thing, which is our is expanded value, we can reverse it. So if it was true, we'll make it false on both of the things, or we can just copy this and we can paste it. No, we have to do it over here. I'll let you know the reason later. Cool. So we'll not shrink this fab only when we click on this main fab button. Instead, when we press back, and even if we click outside the area of constraint of this fab button, we also want to shrink the fab in that case as well. So that's why I'm putting this over here instead of here. Alright, so now we just need to set up few animations over here. So for setting up the animations, first we'll create some animations. So I'll click on resource, I'll create one Android resource file which will be of type animation, and I can just name this one as, first we'll need a rotation for our plus or main fab button. So for that I'll create rotate clockwise, and I'll create rotate anti-clockwise. Cool, these two animations. So inside the rotate clockwise we need to add one parameter which is fill after, we'll make it true, so which retains the animations. And then we'll create one rotate animation. So I'll write rotate, we'll set the duration. So duration, this will be equals to 300 milliseconds, and we need to add it from Android. So just write Android. Cool. Then from degrees, so from which degree? From 0 degree. Alright, and 2 degree, will rotate it to 45 degree. Cool. Then we need to set pivot x and y. So we'll set 50%, this one, and this will be pivot y 50%. And then we need to add the interpolator for smooth animation. So this will come from Android, and then interpolator, and we'll use linear interpolator over here. So linear, I guess we need to write it manually, and that goes like Android and in linear interpolator. Cool, this one, and I'll just close the tag. So our rotate clockwise is done. Now I'll copy this, I'll go to the rotate anti-clockwise, I'll paste it over here, and again this will be 300, but this time this will be 45 and this will be 0. and similarly pivot x and y will be 50%, and the interpolator will be same, which will be linear interpolator. Cool, so these two animations are done, and we can come back here. Now we'll create a few more animations. So for fab buttons, we need from bottom fab, we'll name it like from bottom fab, and one will be like to bottom fab. So to bottom fab, name doesn't really matter, you can write whatever you think is a better name. So similarly we'll add fill after here, so fill after will be true. Then we will use a translate animations, scale animation, and also alpha, which is fade animation, you can say. So for translate, we'll add the duration, so Android duration, this will be again 300 milliseconds. So from y delta 100% to y delta, we'll make it 0%. Cool, so that will be our translate animation. Then we'll add scale animation, which will make it a bit small. So then scale animation, we'll set pivot x and y 50%. I'll duplicate this, and this will be pivot y, which will be also 50%, and to x scale 0.8, so we'll use 0.8 value here, and to y scale 0.8. So to y scale, we just need to change this to y scale. Cool, so scale animation is also done. Now we just need to add alpha animations here. So Android duration, again 300 milliseconds, from alpha 0 to alpha 1. Cool, so that will be our bottom fab animations, and then we'll implement the two bottom fab animations, which will become from up to bottom. So here we just need to reverse the things. So this should be 0 and this should be 100, and here we also need to add from y scale and x scale. So this will be 0.8. I'll duplicate this, and this will be from y scale, and this will be from 1 alpha to 0, so 1 to 0. Alright, so these two animations are done. Now I'll go to the main activity and we'll create variables for these two things. So here we'll create one private val from bottom fab anim. This will be of type animation, and we'll initialize it by using lazy, and here we just need to write animation utils dot load animations. We need to pass the context and the resource file, so r.anim dot from bottom fab. I can just, as we have 4 animations, I can just duplicate this few times. Cool, so this will be to bottom fab. This can be rotate fab anim, rotate clockwise. We'll copy this, and this will be rotate anti-clockwise. This will be to bottom fab, and this will be rotate clockwise and rotate anti-clockwise. Rotate anti-clockwise. Cool, so now we just need to add this animation to our particular views. So when we want to shrink the fab, or when we want to expand, first let's implement the expand fab. So in here we want to rotate our main fab, so binding dot main fab start animations, and here we can pass the animation that we want to use here. So we want to use rotate clockwise, and I'll just copy this line, I'll paste it over here. This will be rotate anti-clockwise. Cool, then we'll add our other animations as well. So I'll just duplicate this few times over here. So instead of main fab button, this will be gallery fab button, this will be share fab button, this will be send fab button. So in here what we want to use, we want to use from bottom, no, or to bottom anim. I'll copy this, paste it over here, paste it over here. I'll just copy these three things from here, I'll paste it over here, and this will be from bottom. I'll copy it again, I'll paste it over here, and I'll paste it over here. Alright, so I'll try to run the app and we'll see if this is working or not. So it has been installed. So the animations are working. Cool. We also have to animate these items as well. Cool. So let's just go back to our activity main, and we need to make these things invisible. So over here we'll start with this, we need to make it invisible, so invisible. Right, we'll also make its text be invisible, this one too, this one too, this one as well, this one as well, and now we are remaining with this one only, and that's not the issue. So I'll copy these things again, I'll paste over here, but this time it will be gallery text, gallery TV, then share TV, and then the send TV. Cool. I'll copy these three things from here, I'll paste it over here, and I'll just change the animations. And let's try to run the app again. Let's just click on the fab button again, and yeah, the animations are working and it looks cool to me. You can again change the animation if you want, rotation, fade, and all that. You can just do that. Cool. So now we also want to implement a few more functionalities, and we also want to set up a dim background. So if you like the white background, you can stay with the white background, but if you want to dim your background, you can just do the next thing. So first of all, what I will do, I just don't like the toolbar, I'll make it no action bar. Cool. So in the activity main, what I will do, so I have created this constraint layout here, and top of that I'll create one view. So view which will be of 0dp and 0dp. I'll constrain this to the parents, horizontal in parent and vertical in parent. Then I'll add one color which is a bit dim, and you can use your color as you want, it's totally up to you. I'll use ID here, ID will be transparent BG, and let's just make it visibility to invisible here as well. So what we can do, we can add animations to this as well, but before that we can do one thing. We can just check if this looks cool or not. So transparent BG visibility to view dot gone, and we want to make it visible when we expand our fab, so this will be visible. Okay, so let's just try to run the app again, and if I click on this, yeah, this one is dim background. If I just close it, cool. I don't know if you have seen the stroke kind of color is over here, we need to get rid of that. So I'll just minimize this. So we'll go to the activity main, and okay, in here, instead of using, let's just zoom this a bit, collapse the project view. I hope you can see the fab button. Okay, the stroke kind of color. So to remove it, what we just need to do, we need to import the background tint from the app, not from the Android. And cool, that is gone. So I'll just copy this thing and I'll paste it in rest of the floating actions button over here, and the last one over here as well. So before running the app, we can also add animations to our transparent BG. So to add the animations to it, we can create few animations again. So I don't want the scaling animation to this transparent BG. So for that I can write from bottom from bottom anim and to bottom anim. Cool. And we can just copy the form bottom fab. I'll just copy this. I'll go to the form bottom anim. I'll paste it and I'll just remove the scaling thing from here. And I'll go to the two for bottom fab again. I'll copy this. I'll go to the two bottom anim. And I'll paste this over here as well. Alright, and again I'll remove this scale animations. Cool. So now we'll go to the main activity and we'll initialize two more animations, two more lazy animations, lazy initializations, sorry. And this will be from bottom anim or BG anim, we can write BG anim, and this will be from bottom anim. I'll copy this, I'll paste it again. This will be two bottom BG anim and this will be two bottom anim. Cool. So instead of setting the visibility, we can just add the animations. So start animation, this will be two bottom BG anim. Copy this and I'll paste it over here from bottom BG anim. So let's try to run the app again and we'll see how does it look now. Okay, so now the stroke kind of thing is gone. And if I expand it, I guess you have seen it animated the background BG, and if I just collapse it, expand, shrink it, the background BG is also animated. Let's expand, let's collapse. Cool. So this looks cool to me, but what we can do again, we can just reduce this alpha. So I'll reduce it to 0.3 and from here as well I'll reduce it to 0.3. Let's try to run it again and it will look a bit smooth. Or so now if I click on this, you can see now this is looking cool to me. And again you can play with the padding and all that with this if this doesn't look good to you. I'll collapse it. Yeah, the animations looks cool to me. Now we need to implement on back press to this. All right, so for that in here we'll implement or we'll override on back pressed button from here, and here we'll have one check which will be if is fab expanded, is expanded. Yeah, if it is expanded we'll call the shrink fab function, else we will call this super dot on back pressed. I'll paste it over here and this will be done. Now in order to collapse or in order to shrink the fab when we click outside the area of constraint fab layout, what we need to do, we need to overwrite dispatch touch event function. So yeah, this one. Cool. So in here let's just collapse the project view, and in here we need to have one check which will if this ev dot action, if this is equal to motion event action down. Cool, this one. Then we'll check for if is expanded is true or not. So if is expanded is true, we'll create one out rect. This will be equals to rect. I need to import the rect. Then we can set our fab constraint. I don't know if I have given ID to it. Cool, right. So here we'll provide an ID. I'll name it as a fab constraint, and we'll go to the main activity. So binding dot fab constraint dot, we need to use a get global visible react function here, and we need to pass the out rect. So we have set out rect to this our fab constraint with using get global visible rect. So what we want to do, if user clicks outside of this aura or outside of this rect, then we want to shrink the fab. Okay, so for that, okay, here we can have dot check, And again here we'll have another if condition which will check if outrect dot contains event or ev dot raw x dot to int comma ev dot raw y dot to int then we'll string the fab. Cool. So this contains is showing me warning. Okay, we need one more and this will be happy. Okay, cool. So then we can just, okay, one is jumped over here. Cool. So this one is done. So I guess everything is done. Now let's try to run the app again and we'll see it's working or not. Cool. Okay, so the app has been installed. So now if I click on the fab button, alright, this is working. If I collapse it, this will be collapsed, and I will expand it again, and if I click on back, this is collapsed, and if I click on back again, so yeah, that is working. And now we need to check outside of the area of this constraint. So if I click over here, the fab is stringed, right? So that is working. Cool. So that's it for this video, and you'll get the source code in the description box. So if you have some errors, you can always check with that. So yeah, that's it. Do subscribe and thank you for watching.